Hello everyone, semi-retired Bob here. I went from this to this in just a little under 7 months. Stick around to find out how. Good morning everybody. Semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet and all things related to the carnivore diet and a few other miscellaneous odds and ends along the way. If this is your first time here, let me say welcome. I'm glad you're here. For those of you that are new here and wondering what's this old retired truck driver doing talking about health and nutrition and some weird diet, well, the primary reason that I do this channel is to show you that it's never too late to take control of your health. Just a little over 7 months ago, I could barely stand for 2.5 minutes, and now, as you can see, I'm out at a state park in North Carolina walking a trail. Got my hiking poles all ready to go. Got my gloves on because it's really cold out today. Got both my base layers on. So we'll see. It's supposed to warm up to about 52 to 55 today. So after I get going, I may have to stop and shed some layers. We'll see how it goes. For everyone that's returning, this is not your first time here. Welcome back. I am also glad you're here. Let me quickly explain that there was no video yesterday. I do apologize for that. But it was so cold and wet, and it was Sunday after church got out. I did say I was going to come over here and show you guys the visitors center the first cold rainy day that I couldn't get out and do any walking. But I did drive over here, but the parking lot was packed because it was Sunday after church. So I just gave up, went home. But I do apologize for not having a video yesterday. So consequently, because I got this as I was uploading the last video that I uploaded, so I didn't go back and re-edit, and there was no video yesterday, so I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to Sylvie, who gave me a super thanks the other day. I don't remember exactly what day it was, but I know this is my first video opportunity to thank her in person. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I saw an interview with Bart Kay. I'll have to get his name out of my pocket, but I can't reach into it right now with my trekking poles in one hand, camera in the other, and my gloves on. But Professor K has now done yet another interview with a different 39-year carnivore. And he looks to be in pretty good health. He hasn't died of scurvy yet. He doesn't have all those vitamin deficiencies people are talking about. So, if you were on the fence about doing a carnivore diet because you've heard all the negatives, oh, well, it may be good for short term, but what about the long term? Well, if, Kelly Hogan doing, I think, somewhere between 12 and 15 years, and Dr. Barry at 6 or 7, and Dr. Baker at 7 or 8, and Dr. Anthony Chafee at wherever he's at. He's been doing it for a really long time as well. If those aren't enough for you to say, hey, this is doable long term, then Here's another couple of examples. So you can stop worrying about the long term and worry about the short term. And we're going to revisit why carnivore is not a weight loss diet. It's a health optimization diet. We'll get into that more on down the trail. Right now, there's some people coming walking their dog, and I have to get down to doing some trekking pole stuff. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Here I am, back on that first bench, on my way out. I'm on the lake trail today, by the way. That guy's name that Professor K interviewed was Richard Rodriguez. So check that video out if you haven't seen that interview yet. It's not too bad. It's actually pretty good. I had someone ask me where I'm from originally and how I got to where I am today. Well, I grew up in southeastern Ohio. It's a little town you've never heard of, but it's near Athens and Nelsonville. Well, about 17 miles from Athens and about 10 miles from Nelsonville if you go over the hill. If you stay on good roads and go around, it's 13 or 14 miles over Nelsonville. But I grew up there in 1990. I threw a dart at the map and ended up in Nebraska. I've been there ever since. A couple winters ago, I decided it was way too cold, so I started coming down here to North Carolina for the winter. Got somebody coming up the trail. I'll be back with you in just a minute. Here I am back with you again. Let's go ahead and get into today's topic. And yes, many people do lose weight on the carnivore diet, but it's not a weight loss diet. It's a health optimization diet. It's a way of life. It's a way of eating. I know we've talked about this a lot, but I continue to see comments, not just on my channel, but on all the places I look. You know, it's a daily question. Not on my channel, but it's a daily question out there on some of the Facebook groups that I look at. And, you know, they're always like, well, I've been on this diet for 4 days and haven't lost anything. I've been on this diet for 2 weeks or 3 weeks and haven't lost anything. Remember that you did not get this unhealthy overnight. In fact, it probably took decades. You cannot expect to undo decades of damage in just a few short weeks. I know I am the exception rather than the rule. But everybody is different. Some people will be just like me, and they'll lose a ton of weight really fast. Other people, it will take time. It'll be slow, but it will be steady. Stick with it. And for heaven's sakes, if you're 3 or 4 weeks into it, don't stop now just because you haven't lost any weight. Think about how you feel. If you can find one thing that has improved in the 4 weeks, whether it be some number like your blood pressure or your waist has gone down an inch or your arms or your clothes just don't feel quite as tight or whatever that thing is, that will let you know that it's working. But it will work. And even if you're not seeing any gains at all in the first month, what are you going to do? Go back to eating the standard American diet, the SAD diet? We already know how bad that is for us. You know, the exact nutritional need of our body for carbohydrates is not 1 gram ever. We know how terrible ultra-processed food is for us. We know how terrible vegetable seed oils are for us. We know that not only aren't vegetables good for us, because the so-called good for us, the nutrients are locked up so that if it says, we'll just say vitamin D. I don't know if there's any vitamin D in plants. I'm just using this as an example. But in most plants, if it's advertised as saying having 100 milligrams of vitamin D in it, but because it's all locked up in undigestible fiber and things that just aren't good for us, or we have trouble digesting. Oh, gotta pause again for just a second. Be right back. And here we are back again. There's a lot of traffic out here for a really cold Monday morning. I don't know what the heck's going on today. But maybe because it was so cold and rainy yesterday. But anyway, because those nutrients are so locked up in the plants that we can't digest, instead of getting the 100 as advertised, we might only be getting 10 or 15. Maybe even not that much, depending on how well you process that stuff. So, you could think that you're doing very, very well, but then all of a sudden, you start having massive problems because you're not getting the right mix of vitamins and minerals in your diet. And by the way, you get all that from meat. You don't have to eat plants to get that. And while we're talking about plants, I don't have all the stats. There's plenty of research out there. You can look it up for yourself. Many of the plants that people eat have known carcinogens in them. I forget what I heard, that the original Brussels sprout, now I understand that Brussels sprouts have been bred and crossbred, and however it is they do that with plant. I don't know if that's what it's called, but they have genetically engineered Brussels sprouts so that they're bigger and tastier. The original Brussels sprouts, the kind of Brussels sprouts I was fed as a kid, have like 126 known carcinogens in them. And there are a ton of vegetables out there that are like that. So, now I'm not getting down on you keto people, because if you want to eat a little veg in your life, that's perfectly okay. As long as you're not having any bad reactions to them and you're still making progress, go right ahead. As I said the other day, and continue to say, if it's working for you, there's no reason to change. And if, what was I going to say? Yeah, when you're picking what diet you're going to try to stick with, whether it be carnivore, lion diet, keto, ketovore, whatever range you pick of the proper human diet spectrum, you need to try it for a bit and decide for yourself, is this a diet plan, a way of eating, a way of life that I can stick with for the long term? Because we're not in this for short-term gains. We're in this for a lifetime of health. Some of us shorter life than others, because I'm already 60. But if you're in your 30s or 40s, you have decades ahead of you that you could do tons of great stuff in, as long as you keep dumping correct fuel into your body. But it is really, when that wind kicks up, quite chilly out here. So I will see you guys on down the trail. What you guys are seeing here is the climb back towards the parking lot. I'm going to try and get back out and do some laps to extend my day. But the wind has kicked up. Not a lot, but between the wind and the sun not making it through the trees, I just got really, really cold, and my joints started to stiffen up. So I turned around and headed back towards the truck. So it's going to be a quick 3-mile hike on the trail today, which seems really, really short. But if you compare it to where I was 7 months ago, it's still a pretty big day. It's beautiful out here, but I've learned a couple things this morning, and I'll probably add a little closer inspection detail at the end of the video. I don't know if you can see there, but I can't, with my gloves on, I've got the straps adjusted to use with my bare hands. And with my gloves on, they're just too thick, and the straps are such a pain to adjust in length. I got my hands through the straps wrong. And part of the problem I think my joints are stiffening up is because I'm not using the straps correctly. I'm not getting quite as much dig on the hiking poles, which puts more pressure on my joints. And as cold as it is, they're really stiffening up. It's a beautiful day out here. It's bright and sunny, but the sun's just got no power today. I don't remember a string of days where it's been this cold in North Carolina since I've been coming down here. But I'm going to have to get some kind of wind-breaking layer, because once I get moving, it's not too bad. But when that breeze catches me just right, even with both my base layers and my hiking pants and my hiking shirt and my hoodie on, that wind just cuts right through me. So I'm going to have to come up with something. I think a rain suit would cut the wind really well. And I've been wanting to get a good, well, they're not good, they're the cheapos, a Frog Tugs rain suit to add to my pack, just in case I get caught in the rain. So I think I'm going to order that sometime in the next couple of days. Hopefully I can get some more walking in this afternoon if it gets above 50 out in the sunshine of the parking lot of the church. But I wanted to go ahead and talk to you guys a little more here. So I wanted to make sure I finished up my thoughts on not getting impatient and realizing the carnivore diet is not a weight loss diet. Yes, many people do lose weight, and eventually your body will normalize to what it thinks is the appropriate weight for you. And remember, your thoughts of what might be an appropriate weight for you could be completely different from what your body tells you it is. Because all of the old height weight scales that we've used for decades don't take into account bone mass, connective tissue mass, muscle mass. All of those things weigh a lot more than fat. But just remember, if you've got, if you've had inappropriate inflammation or some other problem, whether it be an autoimmune disorder, digestive issue, joint issues, mental health issues, whatever those issues are that you're trying to correct with carnivore, if your body, once you start feeding it a proper human diet, decides that your autoimmune condition is much more important than getting rid of excess fat stores, that's what it's going to fix first. So just hang in there, stick with it, don't give up, and if you need some extra encouragement, I do have a members area on this channel where I'm going to start doing extra live streams and Facebook calls. I have a Facebook group that's absolutely free. Just search for Semi-Retired Bob. Fill out the little 3-question questionnaire, and you will get approved. And you can ask your questions in there. And I know it's up to 61, 65 members, somewhere in there. So we're closing in on 100. And there's quite a few qualified people in there to answer your questions. And I'm also willing to answer questions out of the comment section of every video. So go ahead and leave your comments down there. Leave your questions down there. Even if it's not strictly a carnivore question. I don't care what you ask me. Ask me anything. Craig's certainly been asking me a lot of personal questions in the comments. Most of them I answer, some of them I don't. But it doesn't hurt to ask. And who knows? The question you ask might end up being in a video very, very soon. So don't forget to get out there, be 1% better today, folks. If you're still here, go ahead and do all the YouTube-y things, as people like to say. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the join button, or if you don't like me, go ahead and hit that dislike button twice to let me know you really don't like me. But I will probably see you this afternoon back at the trailer, and I'll show you what I was talking about with these trekking poles, if you want to stick around for that kind of content. Otherwise, I'll see you on down the trail. Okay guys, I'm back in my truck. I have no idea if this footage is going to turn out. I recorded this once before on my phone hanging on this bracket over here, and there was a lot of shake to it. I've got the stabilization turned on the bob cam, so hopefully we'll get something semi-decent to look at on the drive home. But we'll see how this turns out. I'll play a little more music here. See you back at the house. Okay guys, here we are back at the end of the video. The way I had to use this trekking pole, you see it has a strap on it. The incorrect way that most people use it, which is the way I had to use it when I had my gloves on, is they just stick their hand through here and grab a hold. Well, the strap keeps you from dropping it, but it doesn't give you any extra pressure, so all you get is your grip strength pushing down on the pole. What you need to do is go up through like that, and then you come down on the pole, and now you can see it holds in place with me not even having to grasp it. And it's the strap wrapped around the back of your hand and thumb where you get all of your power from on the trekking pole. So this is the correct way to use a trekking pole. It gives you a lot more stability and a lot more power for getting where you need to go. I have one more thing. Look what I got here. Isn't that the cutest card ever? Thank you very much, Patty. Patty sent me a Christmas card. It is wonderful. I'm going to hang that up inside my trailer right now. Don't forget to get out there and be 1% better today, everyone. Have a great day. I will see you tomorrow.